So, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? I am back from Dan and Shay, and it was really, really good. Shay Mooney from Dan and Shay, aka the lead vocalist of Dan and Shay, is the best male vocalist of all time. Now, when I got in there, I knew Shay was a dope vocalist, but y'all, I didn't know he was this dope, right? Like, for me, you guys know my favorite concert, because I said it on Thursday's video that I've ever been to, Carrie Underwood, right? But for this, the vocals were almost on par with Carrie. So that's why I say that Shay Mooney from Dan and Shay is the best male vocalist of all time. Now, what did I think of the show? So, we didn't get to see the first opening act, Dylan Marlowe, but we got to see most of Jake Owen, right? So, and Jake Owen, for those that don't know, he has, his biggest song is probably Blue Jean Barefoot Night, or Take You Down to the Honky Tonk. Those are his two biggest songs. So we got to see his two biggest songs. And he was a good performer. Where the venue was Pine Knob, Detroit, and it was hot as Hades outside. So we were all sweating up a storm, but it was a really, 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 really good show, y'all. So let me get to Dan and Shay now. So Dan and Shay came out, right? The show was about almost 2 hours long, right? So they did Speechless. Well, no, they did 10,000 Hours. They did all the big songs. A lot of their old songs too, from like 2014 and whatnot, like when they first came out. And then for the encore, they did Saving the Trouble, Tequila, which they ended with Tequila. We'll get to that in a moment. They ended with Tequila, and that's when Shay became the best male vocalist of all time for me, right? Tequila, Speechless, and yeah, they did all the big songs. Probably my favorite moment of the show was the end, or when they ran in the aisles of the venue, and they came up right in front of me, right? Which, as you guys know, I'm a visually impaired person, so that was probably like my first or second favorite moment of the show. Now, my all-time favorite moment of the show was, so at the end of Tequila, right, he had people sing along, and this clip is on my Instagram and Facebook if you guys want to check it out, right? He had the audience sing along, and then they restarted the song so they could sing it with us, right? And before that happened, Shay Mooney from Dan and Shay hit the longest note I've ever heard a male vocalist hit in my life. In my life. So, yeah, like, the vocals were incredible from Dan and Shay. And Shay, I was expecting him to like, carry the show a lot, right? Because if Dan, he like harmonized sings, and he writes most of his songs, and he plays guitar. But Dan was a pretty big part of the show too, right? Like, he was talking to the audience and stuff like that. That's what shocked me more, because I was expecting Shay to have all the stage presence and all this stuff, which he did, which both of them did. I would strongly recommend seeing Dan and Shay. Again, well, I would strongly recommend seeing Dan and Shay if you haven't. I know I will eventually see them one day again. And, yeah, it was a great show. And if you guys don't know, I'm very picky about people I see again, right? So, like, the 4 people I would say to automatically see again would be Carrie Underwood, Dan and Shay, the last concert I went to, Chris Brown, and Usher, right? So yeah, I'm very picky, and the reason why for for Dan and Shay and Carrie Underwood specifically would be the vocals. The other two, Usher and Chris Brown, would be because of their performance and the way that they perform. So yeah, I would strongly recommend you see Dan and Shay if you're able to. And this was a great show. It was actually better than I expected it to be, right? And the really cool thing is they sold out the venue and they posted it on social media, which me and my mom were both like, Oh yes, and they have a Christmas album coming out. We don't know when yet. This year. They have a Christmas album coming out this year, and I will review it for you when it does come out. Because if you guys didn't know, like, country, rock, and all different genres are going to be a main part of this channel from now on. So, yeah. For me, this was one of the best concerts I've ever been to in my life. And, yeah. If you guys like this style of content and you have seen Dan and Shay before, please leave your thoughts in the comments. Yeah. And if you guys like this style of content and you want to help me out, please subscribe, like, and share this video. Thank you for all your support, and I hope you have a great day.